Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. Vasyl Lomachenko makes excuses as to why Gervonta Tank Davis looked better versus Jose Pedraza than he did. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Channel members. Now, it's a shame that I even have to make this video. So I'm on Twitter. Gervonta Tank Davis posted. I'm going to let you guys listen to it yourself. And they had Vasyl Lomachenko, who just came off a tough fight, and that was against Jose Pedraza, unification. He captured the belt, did pretty poorly throughout the fight, but he made some amends when he had a real big 11th round, and it went the cards. We obviously know that Gervonta Tank Davis in his step-up fight fought against Pedraza when he was champion at that division below, and he dominated him pretty much every round. And you see Gervonta Tank Davis, he's just laughing. He said, okay, now Pedraza didn't train for me, huh? And just listen. This was, Lomachenko was on Jerry Cooney, SiriusXM, and this is what he had to say.
How do you feel about it? Say that he thinks you're way better than...
We'll start it from the top.
Say that he thinks you're way better. Say that he thinks you're way better than Gervonta Davis. How do you feel about it? Have you guys had conversations before? You and he?
No, never. But I think we can't compare me Pedraza and Gervonta Davis Pedraza, because it was different weight class. Gervonta Davis fought with him in 130. And nobody knows how can make this, weight in Pedraza on 130. And we don't know his physical condition on that fight. We don't know how he is prepared for fight with Gervonta Davis. But as you see, for fight with me, he prepared very good. He was ready. So it was very interesting, good.
I think if Pedraza trained for Gervonta Davis the way he trained for you, he would have beaten Gervonta Davis.
I think.
Oh yeah.
Because on that fight with me, Pedraza was very focused. All fight. He was very focused. In the fight with Gervonta Davis, he lose physical condition. He lose his breath, and I think he believe in what he can make a strong punch for Gervonta Davis, and he forget about his defense.
So you have Vasyl Lomachenko. We just know he fought Jose Pedraza. He got the job done. And he was asked about Pedraza at the post-fight press conference. Says he thinks that Lomachenko is the better fighter, but Gervonta Tank Davis hits harder. Single shot, way more power, right? And Lomachenko starts dishing out about how we can't really compare because who knows how easy it was for Pedraza to make 130 because it was in a different weight class, and now he's at 135. Like, basically alluding to he was, weight drained kind of, and how hard was it to make? Was he at his best? Which is bullshit. And it's sad that Lomachenko and the people who have helped to propel his name in America gassed him up in this particular way, because truth be told, Pedraza has more fights and accolades in the previous division. He beat Tevin Farmer in the previous division. He fought Steven Smith in the previous division, who had a record of 23-1. He fought Edner Cherry, a veteran, in the previous division. Andrei Klimov, 19-1 in the previous division. Michael Farinas, etc. So if you really look at it, his best body of work came from 130. He wasn't even really proven at 135. He had recently moved up this year. I was at Pedraza's first fight at 135, and I believe it was in March on the Crawford versus Jeff Horn card. Terrence Crawford versus Jeff Horn. That was his first fight. Then they got him back in there, and a couple months later, and then he fought Ray Beltran in August, and then he got a title from Ray Beltran, who won the title, even though Beltran lost to Terrence Crawford and the bigger names that he fought for the most part. Pedraza looked good in that fight. That was in like August or something in Arizona. He hurt Beltran in the last round. And for his first title defense, he's fighting against Vasyl Lomachenko. Now you have Lomachenko, on Jerry Cooney's show. And it sounded like Jerry Cooney or whatever is co-signing. Hey, I think if Pedraza trained, then, that's why Tank's laughing on Twitter. It's just any way to discredit. This is what happens oftentimes with black fighters, minority fighters, always discredited. How do we know, how does Lomachenko know that Pedraza wasn't at his best and he didn't fully train? How do you have a peek into his camp and he was focused for your fight, but he was unfocused, when he fought Gervonta Tank Davis? How come it can't just be that Gervonta Tank Davis is a good fighter with the amateur pedigree and styles make fights? Because that's the reality. To me, that was the biggest difference maker. Lomachenko did not look great. He found someone that could match his foot speed a bit more in Pedraza. And Pedraza was just using some good upper body movement, more of a moving target as opposed to a stationary target, or a guy like Nicholas Walters that didn't look like he didn't want to be there, and the guy was moving with him, could keep up with him a bit more, better defense, better upper body movement, just overall basic boxing, and he happened to be a little bit taller or equivalent size to Lomachenko. And the rest is history. Plus, when you look at Gervonta Tank Davis, styles make fights. Tank hits hard. I've interviewed, I know Tank. He's hitting hard. End of story. Styles make fights. So, they have to find a way to discredit Gervonta Tank Davis and make his performance seem less than, like, Pedraza was probably weight drained. How do we know what kind of training camp he had? How do you know he could have had the best camp of his life and still lost? Because styles make fights. Tank hits harder than Lomachenko. So maybe that's maybe it wasn't a lack or break of focus on behalf of Pedraza. Maybe it was just the fact that Tank was hitting him so hard and he was accurate. Fighters have bad nights, but to see Lomachenko on, XM radio, SiriusXM radio, make these excuses, it's kind of sad, because some people, not me, but some people had him pound for pound number one. So to see the pound for pound number one on some people's list, making excuses of why his face looked tattered up and why he didn't have the best performance, and then, trying to justify by downplaying another person's opponent, like, oh, we don't know how Pedraza made weight, So if you don't know, then you don't know either way. You don't know. Maybe he made the weight. Like, that's a convenient excuse. So Pedraza had no problem fighting Stephen Smith and Edner Cherry, beating Tevin Farmer at the previous weight. He gets stopped by Tank Davis, and now all of a sudden weight was too crucial for him to make, No doubt these fighters, probably killed themselves to a degree to make weight. And, what time you're coming off a loss, you're no longer a champion. So, give your body a break and then move up. But if he would have won, he probably would have stayed and kept defending, because he would have kept his title. But now if you lose your title, then there's really no reason for you to, drop those extra 5 pounds if you don't have to and you no longer are a champion. So I firmly do believe that if Tank would have got knocked out or lost and Pedraza kept his title, he would still probably be at 130, at least for a few more fights. But there's no reason to stay there if at that point you don't even have a title. So you have no allegiance to that division, you know, and he's probably a big dude, so he decided to move up. But to make it seem like he was not focused and stuff, to me, that's low, because you don't really know what he did in either training camp, you know. And to me, the difference maker was Gervonta Tank Davis's power and his surgical punching power, because, you know, that was bothering Pedraza, and he was trying to it didn't look like he wasn't focused. He was playing games and you know, he was trying to be crafty with Tank Davis, but Tank Davis has a different level of power, and he's explosive, and he's quick hand. He's also a southpaw, and, you know, he got Pedraza's attention, and Pedraza wasn't able to just like eat the shots, you know. So styles make fights, but to try to find a way to, you know, discredit, it's just, that to me, that's sad. That's like Deontay Wilder, you know, and him saying like, oh, you know, the Luis Ortiz fight, I was better, and then, you know, Tyson Fury did. He's giving both of them props. You know, he's giving Tyson Fury props. He said Tyson Fury made me miss more. You know, Luis Ortiz is probably a tougher style with power, but, you know, he's just on Joe Rogan giving him props. But here you got Lomachenko really trying to just justify why he looked like that. Because, okay, let's say Pedraza, okay, he was focused. That doesn't explain why Pedraza's face, even post-fight, was clean and Lomachenko's face was tattered up. That's a stylistic thing, because it don't matter how focused you are. If you have a crazy defense, then you have a crazy defense. Pernell Whitaker's fight, his face didn't look like that at the end of Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and Chavez got cracks. You know, so to me, it's more of a stylistic. It's the matchup. It had nothing to do with all this other stuff. Again, yeah, Pedraza has a good size, but he probably elected to move up because there was nothing tying him to 130 after he lost his belt. But had he beat him, he probably still would have been his ass there. You know, so it's funny, man. Like I said, new media is coming. The walls are closing in for all these topics in boxing. I told you, like, you know, you got the guy who's pound for pound, and he's kind of making it, you know, they say he's pound for pound, and he's kind of making excuses to justify and to do it. He's bringing up someone else's performance. Your performance is your performance. You don't know what Pedraza was doing in his Tank camp, and you don't know what he was doing in your camp. All you know is the man that was in front of you. So to make it like he was like had this laser focus, you know, he probably didn't respect Lomachenko's power like he respected Tank's power. You know, that's gonna determine heavily what you do. Like, that's like if I fight Deontay Wilder versus fighting, you know, someone who doesn't hit as hard as Wilder, then yeah, that's gonna create different openings, because with Wilder I have to be super mindful, and, you know, I have to be switched on because of his punching power. You know, again, styles make fights. You know, if you're fighting Pacquiao, you got to prepare for Pacquiao. So, you know, Pedraza was trying to do some of the same crafty stuff with Tank Davis. So I don't buy this, you know, and this is kind of, it makes Lomachenko, in my opinion, makes him look bad that he would even resort to this. You got the title, you beat him, you know, your face was tattered. It was what it was. You had a good 11th round, you know, just learn from it and grow. But it seems like it kind of hurt his pride that he didn't look like the Matrix, and, you know, now he's bringing up someone else's performance, saying, hey, we can't compare. Yeah, we can. You know, it's not like we're comparing something that happened like 9 years ago and lots changed. Pedraza fought Tank the way he fought you. You know, the difference is he didn't respect your power at first, and, you know, and see, another thing is people were acting like Pedraza. Someone said that Pedraza wasn't a champion when Tank fought him. How did Tank become a champion for the first time? He's a 2-time champion. How did he become a champion? Because Pedraza was a champion. So it is actually very comparable. It's just in 2 different weight classes. You know, and I don't buy this whole Pedraza was superbly weight drained, because had it not been Gervonta Tank Davis, you know, Pedraza definitely had a chance to win, because that division at the time wasn't super stacked. So, you know, had it been another guy, Pedraza may have won, like he did with Steven Smith and Edner Cherry and them other dudes, Klimov. It was just who he was in there with. So we got to stop with these excuses in boxing. And I'm out. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.